Hello, my name is Tanya, and I'm the author of the book, Losing Porsha, We Live Through Our Loss. On today's episode, I'm going to be talking about ways to help children heal and deal with loss. One of the first things we can do is to regularly check in with our children. And what I mean by that is to consistently talk to them, ask them how they're feeling, ask them, like monitor their communication, monitor their sleep habits, monitor their physical appearance. Just ask them questions, try to get them to talk, make sure that they're okay. Two, make sure that children, especially younger children, are processing the loss of a loved one carefully, because a lot of times younger children, they tend to think, oh, or when they're coming, when is such and such coming back, or they're, you'll tell them that they're gone and that they're no longer here, but they kind of tend to believe that they're coming back. So make sure they, understand that, when a loved one passes, um they're not coming back, just yet. So like I said, just make sure younger children, understand that. Also, now, like when, as far as dealing with the loss of a loved one, it is hard for adults to comprehend, losses, especially like if it's unexpected. And so as adults, if it's hard for us, then, good and well, it's hard for children because they're young. They don't understand the ins and outs of it. So again, just make sure you talk to them. Make sure that the communication is open. Make sure they're understanding, and things like that. And sometimes children, it's kind of hard for the younger ones to express how they're feeling. So you may want to encourage them to maybe write how they're feeling, or like draw pictures of how they're feeling, because it's not uncommon for children to kind of like shut down and it just be like so much going on in their head they can't really express how they feel. So sometimes they just kind of like shut down, just don't want to deal with this anymore, I'm just done with it. But really make sure that you're, communicating and talking with the children as well. Another thing that I would say, or I would encourage, especially if children are having a hard time processing it and just seem to be kind of like struggling or kind of staying stuck with it, it may be time to take them to counseling or therapy. And there's no shame in that. And I know, like, when my father passed, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it impacted me. Like in losing my baby sister Porsha, she was a stillbirth and I was 8 years old. And if you read my book, you can see how at the time, again, I was like 8 years old, but I remember everything. And that event that impacted me for years. I mean, like my whole life, I never forgot it. And so again, I was 8. So, losing a father or a parent, and you got more years in and more time in, it could be kind of devastating and kind of hard to process. But like I said, like when my father passed, I I went to group therapy. I sure did. I remember there was maybe like 6 of us, like not me, my family, but me and like 6 other people that I didn't know. We were in there and we was just kind of like discussing our losses and what happened and so forth. And excuse me, I found the group to be very helpful. I think it was like moving on and living on after loss, and it was local. It was offered at my local medical center. And there was like, different people of different ages, different raises. I mean, there was young, there was old. And I'm not going to lie, I needed help. I did. I'm not ashamed to say that. There's no shame in that. I'm all about healing and going on. But for me to be in a classroom, and at times just letting it out, And normally I don't do that, but hey, if you're serious about healing, you ain't gonna care about that. You just want to, let it out, express yourself. The support was very helpful, and and so forth and so forth. So I highly recommend, taking children to therapy if they're having problems, with that, processing it. Also, let's see. And another suggestion, like for younger kids, also, it may be a good idea to like read them stories. There's a lot of books out there that that explains death to kids, and maybe you could kind of like buy those books or check them out at the local library and read them and ask questions and so forth and so forth. Those books are very helpful as well. I know, like, also when I went to therapy sessions when I lost my father, I remember there was this book called Tear Soup, I think it was. I should have had that written. I'm sorry, y'all, but that book was very helpful. And when I get a minute, I'll go back and add some different books and links, to this video at the end. Also, one of the last things that I would say too is to encourage children to get it out. Don't try to hold it in. Don't try to be a hero. Just let it out. Release it. And I would tell children that you heal by releasing, not suppressing. That's how you heal. You can't keep that pain, bottled up inside and not talking about it and sweeping it under the rug and act like it didn't happen. You have to talk it out. And there's no shame in it. Trust and believe, there's no shame in it. And I'm talking for children and adults, because, loss is a part of life. And it's something that we all experience, whether we want to or not. Sometimes it's expected. Sometimes it's like it just comes out of nowhere. But, the process is still the same. We have to get it out. We have to heal. And we have to move on. And last, I would tell children, and I'll explain to them that, you're not going to feel sad always. That's how life is. There's good, there's bad. There's, life just happens to all of us. There's no exception to the rule. And it's perfectly normal to feel, some of the ways that you feel. But the main thing is talking and getting it out and releasing and remembering and just let them know that brighter days are coming and that they won't always feel sad. Okay, that's it for today. I hope that you all found this video helpful. Again, I'm just trying to get more comfortable talking in front of the camera. I want to do more work as far as reaching out and offering suggestions and advice and just being a resource to, people and, children and families that have experienced a loss. And I thank you so much for taking the time for listening to my video. I appreciate y'all. Have a good one. Bye-bye.